start of that video and do a full breakdown because I think Zen is one of the coolest cryptos, and we're gonna really deep dive it tonight. Find out all the intricate details about it, how it got started, and kind of learn the story about Zen. So I'm really excited to get started here. I'm just gonna make a note, to be honest with you guys. I have been talking to Jack all day, and he said he's coming. I'm gonna give it till 7:15 to get started here, and if not, I guess we're gonna have to postpone this because you know I'm here, but said he was gonna be on time, so it's just gonna wait it out. I understand how busy being a founder is. Doing that, that's why give it. And has to offer to the community as well.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. And for the first question that I always like to start off with is two really broad questions. Who are you, Jack? And what is Zen?
Well, that answer is pretty simple. I'm no one, just a usual average guy that's been in the crypto for a while. Uh, Zen is the one of the, I guess I can't say it's a first project based on first principles of crypto, because we have had Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has been around for a long time. And Zen is based on the literally, I would say, Satoshi's paper. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to replicate the conditions of how Bitcoin was mined initially. And it's very similar how Zen is minted. One of the, I would say, most notable aspects of Zen is that the team never pre-allocated or pre-minted any tokens for themselves. We don't have an origin address. We just like everyone else, we're part of the community, and we're minting Zen together with the community. So that's what makes it so unique and interesting. I would say definitely people's crypto.
So, with that being said, and that being kind of the community crypto and this proof of participation that I think is really cool, what is kind of the I know you kind of spoke a little bit about the ideology behind Zen, but can you speak a little bit more about like, what inspired Zen and really the inspiration behind it?
Well, I think the inspiration was really bring back crypto's ideology the way it was designed from the very beginning. I've been watching and participating in the crypto space for almost 11 years, and what I discovered is that the world really moved off the first principles. And so I wanted to see if it's possible to have successful crypto launch, which we call a fair launch, based on those original principles, which is self custody, transparency, trust through consensus, and decentralization. All of those things. And so with Zen, I believe we're amplifying what blockchain has to offer. And Zen is not a complicated contract. It's only 400 lines of code, and it really acts as an app on top of the blockchain. So it's nothing really special. And I think this simplicity and its ability to bring in people into crypto safely is what makes it so popular.
That's really interesting. And I think that we have a lot of cryptos that try to overcomplicate things. It's nice to have something that's really like, not like you said, not pre-allocated, simple and kind of kind of an OG crypto. I feel like Zen could kind of be. It kind of feels like kind of one of the older cryptos, even though it's one of the newer. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, can you speak a little bit about to what the proof of participation is and what that means?
Proof of participation, yes. So obviously the I guess the crypto revolution has started with the proof of work. Proof of work means that you spend electricity, or you spend compute power, and you spend time to generate a token, and the token being Bitcoin, for example. And there have been many other examples of proof of work. Until recently, Ethereum was proof of work. Now it's what has moved to proof of stake. So proof of stake is clearly better because you're not wasting electricity. You're just staking your economic energy, which is your money, or in Ethereum case was is Ethereum, but you need to buy it. So you have to buy it, and you have to buy it to a particular, and you have to cross a threshold, and then you can become a staker, so that you can actually validate the network transactions. Now, proof of participation is this more of an abstract protocol that allows people to participate just by literally just by being there. So you start with your wallet, you connect your wallet to a web app, you execute a transaction, and then you specify how long you want to participate for. So you can go as short as 1 day, which is 24 hours, or as long as 421 days on Ethereum specifically. And at the end of the term that you specify, you have to come back and you have to claim your mint or claim your Zen. So that's how you're participating. You're participating by being there, by being engaged with your crypto wallet, which is MetaMask or Trust Wallet or any wallet of your choice, and just your attention and your ability to execute transactions is your participation. That's how we explain it.
Awesome. So, what is your preference between proof of work or proof of stake? Just curious, which one do you think actually is better?
It's actually debatable. A lot of people, specifically Bitcoin maxis, they think proof of work is better because it is the most secure way. The problem with that is that if it was just regular CPUs and video cards like it was before back in the day, and nothing like specialized equipment like we have now, which is ASICs, then perhaps it would have been more fair. Right now, the fairness is not really present in the proof of work because whoever can afford the most equipment, or whoever has the best credit in the bank, can borrow the money, buy a bunch of equipment, and start mining. So that in itself is not really fair, and but it does make it difficult to destroy the network because there's so many miners. But I think the amount of miners and the hash power is just the function of the time the network has been around. The proof of stake is better from a sense that you don't have to waste electricity so much. The problem with proof of stake is that, again, if you have the most money, then you may actually end up centralizing the network and not making it as secure as people want. So there's all kinds of tricks that the blockchains now implementing. There is a round robin mechanism. There is a DAO voting mechanism where the validators or stakers are selected so that things are more fair. So everything has pluses and minuses. So I would say, I mean, I would personally, like, if I could do anything, if I wanted to stake, I could probably do it. And there's many options to choose from. Like, I can go to Polygon and stake some Matic token right there. I can go to Cosmos ecosystem and do something there too. With Bitcoin mining, I can't really do much of anything because I need specialized equipment and I need a data center. I mean, of course, I could participate in some sort of a pool, but it's not quite as interesting as it was back in the day when everything was I would say more available, and there wasn't as much hash power involved.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm actually more of a proof of work guy because I think that it's important that transactions hold more economic value. I know um, it doesn't. I'm not really a developer or that, but that's just my preference. There's a project called Sato, which is an interesting twist on proof of work, and I think that's kind of the blockchain ideology I would associate with most. Um, my next question, going back to Zen, is so if I wanted to get started with Zen, how do users start actually using Zen? Because it talks a lot about you have to mint tokens. You can't just like you can buy Zen, but you mint it. There was no like total supply or whatnot.
There is no total supply. You're correct. The supply is limited to the amount of gas you can afford and the people in the world. Basically, that's how you can imagine it. There is, however, to add uh, a few different components that are worth exploring. Number one, unlike Bitcoin and unlike cryptos that are implementing scarcity element within minting or mining, Zen rewards get amplified by the total number of people participating in the network. So the more people mint, the more Zen you make, the more Zen anybody makes, essentially. So the larger the number of participants, the bigger value of the network as expressed through Zen mint. Now there is difficulty component as well, but that difficulty component is mostly based on time. Specifically, if you come in late, and Zen has about 8 years in its minting phase. If you come in 4 years later, you will be at the halftime of the minting period, and you would be minting about 50% less than you would if you were to join this year. So that's interesting in itself. So there is this thing called we call AMP or amplifier. An amplifier is set to 3,000, and the amplifier actually ticks down every day. So every day, if you join later to mint, you make a little bit less Zen, but it gets more and more pronounced as we approach the 8 year period.
Interesting. So it's better. Obviously, it's better to go in now, and we haven't. Can you speak a little bit? So going off that, can you speak a little bit about the deflationary and inflationary aspects about the tokenomics? Because you talked a lot about a long time, like 8 years is a long time in the crypto space. So can you just speak a little bit about how that minting process works and what it's going to look like at the end? Because I know a lot of people are waiting for that price appreciation. So can you talk a little bit about the period of now, which is kind of like the price depreciation, correct?
Yes and no. So people often look at very singular components. Like for example, if a coin or any sort of crypto token is increasing in its emissions, and there's a lot of it, there's you know abundance of it. It doesn't actually mean it's going to go down in price. So, like for example, Zen is free to mint. So, in other words, you pay $3 on the weekends to mint with one wallet, and you can get about 50,000 Zen per day. Now, Zen actually is traded at currently 5 zeros and 8 and 5 zeros and 9. It's kind of going between those values. Now, why would anything that is free cost anything? That is the interesting question. So the way that we can explain it is that for you to make any profit with Zen, you're going to have to specify the waiting period for at least 14 days. Now, if you want to get Zen ASAP without trading the time, you can certainly go to the market and buy it. So what people are doing is that they're selling their time that they have spent on mint to the people who do not want to wait. So that is why it has the value today. Now, the real true value of any cryptocurrency is the ratio between the desire to have it and ability to produce it. So even now, it looks like there is quite a bit of Zen being produced, and we're looking at over, I think, currently it's getting close to I think it's actually 400 billion or something like that. But that number doesn't really mean anything. I mean, we may as well call it 400. The real value is the total amount of people that are getting engaged with Zen. And so far, we have seen over 200,000 people join the network in just 1 month. So if that rate of engagement continues, we will probably be the largest, the most, I guess, minted or handled crypto in the world within a year. And that is where the value really is.
That
It's the people.
that's actually amazing. I mean, that having that much of a user base in such a short amount of time is a feat in itself. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm. So with that, um, can you talk a little bit about the importance of self custody with Zen? Because I feel like that's one of the one main components of Zen is it's really it's self custody. You come into the networks, you mint your Zen tokens, and then you could use it in different protocols. So can you speak a little bit about to that and how users can start using their Zen?
Well, I think self custody. can really be expressed with this phrase that everybody know, or at least should know: not you keys, not you coins. We all have seen what happened with FTX, and before it was Celsius, and before it was Mt. Gox, and so on and so forth. So having self custody of your digital assets is absolutely the first thing that everybody should learn. And it's amazing that it's been 10 years and people still get confused about who owns who's crypto. And so when it comes to Zen, we're really a community building slash educational crypto. We're trying to get people engaged into understanding how to run their own wallets, how to recover the wallets if it's necessary, how to store your seed phrases safely. There's more advanced topics like multi-sig or multi-signature transaction signing, where you can have two, three, four, five people in an organization that can co-sign the transaction before the anything is executed. So all of these things are you're able to practice with Zen. And it comes down to understanding what a crypto wallet is and how it runs, and whether you could have it on your mobile phone or mobile device, or in your browser as a MetaMask plugin, so on and so forth. So self custody, yeah, that is one of the original tenets of the Bitcoin origin. Um, just recently, I forgot to. Well, actually, because I was traveling, I didn't get to my mailbox in time, and there was a claim from the California Franchise Tax Board. It was about $3,000 that I was supposed to pay in taxes. Now, somehow I misplaced that letter and I didn't pay them. So what they have done, they literally just contacted my bank and took the money from my bank account. And then my bank informed me that the California Franchise Tax Board just decided to withdraw some money, and there's nothing they can do about it, and there's nothing I can do about it. So the question then, is my money in my bank is really my money, if the government agency can just simply issue a request and uh, retrieve the assets as they see fit.
Can I just say that is absolutely wild that they went into your bank and withdrew without your consent. That is actually an insane
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, and here's the thing: so my tax returns have my address, have my phone number, my CPA signs my tax returns. They have their number too. No one calls anybody. It's much cheaper for them just to reach into a bank account and take the money. So, and that's what they have done.
That's insane. So I know you mentioned the FTX situation a little bit. Can you speak about what you think about this whole situation and what you see being the fallout from this and how it affects the industry, kind of?
So, first and foremost, I don't think SBF Sam is evil in any way. I think he's young and inexperienced in a sense of how to run a company. I mean, just this week we learned that the FTX did not have a CPA, did not have a board of directors. Well, I mean, they were running in Bahamas. So, kind of the question is, okay, if they were an American company, would there have been more scrutiny on them? But here's the thing: running in Bahamas, not having any accountability, still allowed them to become one of the largest entities in the crypto world very rapidly, just over 2 years. So that kind of tells us how early we are still in this whole industry, where billions can be acquired and billions can be lost just with one tweet. Um, in terms of the fallout and what will it do for the industry? Well, I think uh, it's a good segue into really learning what self custody is and what crypto was meant to do. It meant to eliminate the risk of a middleman, and unfortunately, FTX was that middleman that failed. So, and it's a good lesson to all of us, especially in the wake of Celsius too. I mean, that was the same type of situation, right? And of course, USDT and Luna, same situation. What happens is that people get overzealous and they try. Well, I mean, in case of FTX, they minted and printed their own FTT token, and then they just leveraged it. So it didn't have the value that they claimed to be, because the accounting practices were not approached from the sort of a standard well-known, practical implementation of what accounting should be. So technically, I could run a company in the Bahamas, and I could mint 1 billion tokens and call it $1. And if I can convince the world, then that's what my tokens are worth. Then potentially I could borrow against it. And I think that's what exactly they have done. And it took only one tweet from CZ to for this house of cards to fall. I mean, it's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. It's unfortunate a lot of people lost their money, but it is fortunate in the sense that it happened sooner than later.
I totally agree with the last thing you said there, that it's better that it happens sooner or later. Same thing with the Luna situation, because the sooner we have these bad actors out of crypto, the better it is. I mean, I don't know if I agree with you completely that I don't think that he's an evil person or not. I think that him taking a lot of money in customer funds, I mean, I think that's just in you know, despicable. And
Well, I think it's like this. I mean, you get away with the little thing, and then you think it's actually becomes a new normal for you, and you think everybody agrees that whatever is that you're doing, even if it's not right, is right because nobody's stopping you. And then you base your reality based on the actions in the world you live in, and you create your own reality. And ultimately, the whole thing collapses because the world disagrees. And then you have to close shop and disappear. I mean, certainly he didn't plan to escape with the billions. It was just a matter of mismanagement.
do you think that what do you think about like him funding Almeida and using customer funds to repay a loan? Do you think it was a matter of he would think that he can make it right later? Do you think he knew what he was doing, or do you think it was just plain incompetence up the line?
I think it's really incompetence, and Alameda is his own company too, so it's like moving funds from one pocket to the other. I mean, to him it's just names, but it's all the same thing. It's his companies.
So, what do you think about the effective altruism movement and SBF coming out and saying that that was kind of like a front and it's not entirely true? Do you think that that was kind of evil that he portrayed himself, that he really wanted to play this character, this good guy that gives back, and he's that good guy billionaire?
Well, I think, I mean, listen, if everybody on the street tells you that you're a good guy, you're gonna start believing it. So it's everybody's personal psychology. In the same, by the same token, if everybody, like right now, you walk on the street and everybody's mistreating you, you're gonna think that potentially there's something wrong with you, right? You're gonna end up believing it. So it's just a matter of the function of time. And for him, I think it was just he was a celebrity for a while, and he was probably encouraged by the world and the people that he surrounded himself with to do more of the same. It just happened to be not in line with uh, being compatible with our social structure and the economic energy that should be treated with respect. And I totally agree with you. I mean, the custody of people's funds that he took custody of has definitely been mistreated. But if you like look on CNBC, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, goes on TV all the time, and he was a paid spokesperson for FTX. He invested his own money into FTX, and he's by no means a dummy, right? So he has done it, thinking that he has done his due diligence, and his argument was, and I just saw it recently, he said that SBF's parents are the regulation lawyers or something like that. So it is probably the safest institution to put your money in, being set up like that, and obviously that is not the case. But again, I mean, it takes us back to the reasons why blockchain and crypto was created for. It was created specifically to avoid situation of centralization like that. But it is in a human nature to worship people out there who are doing something interesting and amazing, and if they're on TV all the time, right, they become those you know this last 2 years he was a celebrity, and they call him a white knight of crypto. He was bailing everybody's out with the money he didn't have. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy part is like him trying to bail people out and with money he didn't even have. Like the text with Elon where he was like talking about buying Twitter and when Elon, sniffed out the BS that he didn't even have the money. But I think what you were saying is right. It's like it's so wild that his parents were regulators and it raises a lot of questions. I know a lot of people in the crypto are conspiracy world are conspiracy theorists, but I actually am. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist. I'm a logical person. I think with reason. I definitely think it's just not a coincidence that his parents were in bed with some of these regulators, and I don't know if was going to be a positive thing having this guy talking to regulators, because in reality, he really was a true degen, if you think about it, and putting on for the crypto space, or was it bad and he was trying to use these regulators to save his own butt and save the FTT token? I don't know.
Well, there's no saving now. I mean, ultimately, I think deep down he knew that the day of reckoning is coming. Uh, Perhaps there was a way that he could have saved himself if he would have came out himself, or did some sort of a financial kung fu with FTT and converted it into a stable coin. Then he would have then involved the open market to support his claims of having billions. I mean, technically, FTT was on for sale, and everybody were happy to buy it at $25, $40 per token, and all of a sudden it's worth nothing, right? But it's worth nothing is because of the loss of confidence. So it is the loss of confidence that destroyed FTX. And specifically, there was plenty of reasons not to be confident. Company in Bahamas, no CPA, no board of directors. They didn't even know who worked for them. I mean, so far, what I saw is that they couldn't produce documents showing HR records when they were filing for Chapter 11.
Yeah, that's insane that you're a company and you don't even know what employees you have. I think you're right that there was a lot of red flags, but I think that they did such a great job of instilling trust into us through the use of like celebrities, like, Tom Brady's using it, or, anybody else, Shaq, or like you said, Kevin O'Leary and Mr. Wonderful, and that all these connections, it just is like, it makes it even crazier.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. If you wanted to use a centralized exchange and Mr. Wonderful on TV is telling you that this is the best place to do it, I mean, he kind of acts and speaks from a perspective of authority. If you can delegate the trust, you can say, okay, this is the guy everybody knows. He's done his due diligence. Therefore, I trust FTX to be the solid place to be. Um, I guess not, and that's that's a lesson to everyone, right?
So, with that being said, do you think it's possible that this happens to like other centralized entities such as Binance, and that we move into more decentralized protocols and more smart contract based protocols like how Zen is? It's simple, it's free, it's open source, you can see the code. And do you think we move more towards that, or do you think we move into more companies like another, FTX, another Mt. Gox? What are your thoughts about that?
I pretty much guarantee you that more companies will fail. It's just the nature of things. But generally, what happens is that those companies are born during the bull market, and they generally do not survive the bear market. So I'm hoping that this bear market actually will be a positive thing for many new companies that will structure themselves and focus on the proper management. And of course, it's gonna accelerate the American regulatory practices on what to allow, and what's not to allow. Though I would say, as an American, we have probably the least rights when it comes to crypto. So, like for example, me being in Hawaii, I just decided to open an account to help my friend in Hawaii to open an account on Coinbase, and Hawaiian state does not allow him to do that. If you have an IP coming from Hawaii, you just can't do it on Coinbase. However, you can do it on MEXC, you can do it on Qcoin, but those are not American companies, and they can turn off the lights anytime they want, and there's nothing you will be able to do. So I think the way out of it is education, and that's what we're trying to achieve with Zen. We're trying to educate people about the first principles and how to keep your money and ultimately your digital assets safe, and what open source uh, self custody and no admin keys, immutable contracts really mean. So, and like if you think about it, there's a lot of blockchains out there. It sounds like blockchain is supposed to be decentralized, but there's many that are not. They're just running their own nodes, and they call it a blockchain. It looks like a blockchain, but it isn't decentralized. They can turn off those blockchains anytime they want, and they can roll back transactions. They can blacklist contracts. They can do pretty much anything. It's much more difficult to do it on Bitcoin, at least when it comes to transactions. There isn't much you can do there because you cannot run smart contracts yet. Ethereum is obviously better because I think they have like 40,000 validators or some insane number, where Polygon I think is only 100. And then Binance, until recently, they had a situation where they were planning to roll back some transactions to revert some sort of a hack, which is, some argue, is a good thing because they're running an exchange and they can quote unquote fix things, but it isn't true decentralization. So that is also part of education. What people should know is that when they participate in multitude of blockchains out there, that some of them are very very hackable and potentially not truly decentralized as they claim to be.
I totally agree with you. I don't think that real true decentralization can be achieved just yet. There's always going to be some centralized entity, even Bitcoin, right? We have, people that produce the miners, or I think Ethereum, like you said, does the best job of it. But, you know, that's why I thought that, like, I don't know if any of you guys have been following me for a while, but that's why I thought that I think that there's an argument to be made during some bull markets that centralized entities could be safer, but it often proves that they fail in the end at decentralized protocols work. And even with the fallout of all this, I think it proves that DeFi and blockchain is kind of the future of transparent financial systems out of all of this.
It certainly is, and I mean, there's also DAO structures that could work well. I mean, they're not without challenges, but it is possible. I mean, ultimately, I mean, technically, the argument against Bitcoin is that the Bitcoin Foundation could push the code on top of the miners and force them to change the way that things are mined. So, does it mean things are decentralized? Well, I mean, if they could do it and they could force things go their way, how is that not a centralization? So I would say that we want decentralized world, but we live in a pseudo decentralized world to an extent.
I totally agree with you. And I know we've kind of strayed far from Zen, but this has been a great, side conversation. So getting
Yeah, I
back,
mean, those things are important. I mean, that's why Zen exists, is that we want be a counterpart to the things that are not working, and we want to get things improved. And we can achieve that by onboarding the 95% of the world's population that haven't been yet exposed to crypto, by instilling the right practices and giving people ammo to protect themselves, or rather, should I say, shields to protect themselves against the predatory elements out there that will eventually come knocking on their doors.
yeah, I 100% agree with you. And and okay, so another thing about Zen, going back to Zen, I think we did a really good job of covering some of those key points from before. I kind of have a controversial question, and I'm not sure, I don't mean to offend you by this, but can you
I
tell me
love I love everything controversial, so please go ahead.
okay, so can you tell me a little bit about like what this controversy with Hex is? Like, is there some sort of like rivalry or something with Hex going on with the Zen community? I'm not like fully like briefed on this or don't really understand it.
I think Hexicans love me. I'm pretty sure. I'm one of their favorite people.
Awesome. So I have it mistaken. So the Hexicans love you, and that there's no beef, and then there's all love between the Zens
Well, I mean,
and the Hexicans.
you have to be specific. I mean, there have been I guess Twitter Spaces where people were calling Zen a scam. So that has certainly has happened.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably just fun as you probably have from many things. But thank you for answering that because that was kind of something that I wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
So,
listen, I have researched hacks fairly deeply. I looked at every line of code, and I looked at the economic model of hacks, and I often speak my mind about hacks as far as what it is and what it's not. And some people find it offensive, and some people don't. So it is what it is. And obviously, anytime there is, I mean, like if you think about it, so Zen has no pre-mine or pre-mint. Like we have, as a foundation, we haven't started with having any sort of allocation. If there is another team that wants to launch their crypto and they wanted to allocate 50% of their tokens to themselves so that they can raise money with those tokens or maybe sell them later on top of their community, and Zen exists and actually thrives, how will that make them feel, or what will it do to the potential new users that they're trying to acquire? It will actually put them in a, I would say, in a pickle, because uh, we if we stand opposed to pre-allocation and we're trying to say that Zen is people's crypto, everybody else's crypto that has a ton of uh, their own coins in their pocket is not really truly financially decentralized. Now that's kind of, I would say, we're essentially bringing to light what people do not want to talk about. And what people don't want to talk about is that many projects are centralized financially. So, for example, with hacks, there's always a question about the original address. Who owns the original address? I mean, well, nobody came up and said that we own it, but 5%, or not five, but half of all of the Hex's unclaimed yield goes to the original address. Now, who is getting enriched by that? Nobody knows. So that is obviously is something uh, that sometimes looked at with a particular lens. Like some people say it's a feature and it's great, and some people say no, it's not great. Somebody's definitely getting a benefit from it.
yeah, I would say I'm one of those people that I think that the funds go to Mr. Hart, and I don't think that, you know, I think Hex is an interesting thing, but I really don't think that Pulse Chain is anything crazy. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not invested in it. I don't really like the way that he handles himself with the videos and the personalities, but that's just me being a tech nerd. But that's also not
Yeah,
really
well,
something that's
I think
important. Yeah,
my view on this is that anybody can behave however they want to behave. It's their sovereign right to,
of course.
to play. You can be anyone you want on TV, like, so to speak. It's completely your right. I mean, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have personal judgments and personal dislikes, but ultimately
Hmm.
it doesn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it matters whether you're lying to the people, or you're not, whether you're engaging in I guess malpractices and or not. That is what really matters. And
Agreed.
so far, I mean, like, uh, Richard hasn't been yet accused, or there hasn't been any sort of uh, true indication that there's a scam going on. Until anybody's proven guilty, they should be innocent. That's how I
I,
see it.
Totally agree with you on that, and that's just what I was about to say. I will say, even though Richard Hart has his antics, he's never really been accused of scamming anybody, and I think he's done good for the community, being how brash he is. He's really preached some really good things, and Hex is still up 683x since its launch, which is generational wealth for tons of crypto users. So I'm never gonna hate on that, and I think that's a remarkable, thing.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, agreed.
So back to Zen.
Yeah,
So another thing is these Z NFTs. Can you speak a little bit about what that is and how to get involved?
Zen NFTs. We call them Zen NFTs, and they're gonna be amazing. And the reason why they're amazing is, first of all, is that Zen NFT is a smart contract that allows you to uh, mint with multiple wallets underneath. So you execute one transaction, but you can amplify your Zen mint by paying more gas. That's what it ultimately means. At the same time, Zen NFTs are portable. In other words, I can pay $500 in gas. I can set the time to, let's say, 300 days, and that Zen NFT will ultimately make a billion Zen in the future. I can then turn around and give that Zen NFT to you as a gift, and you can claim your future Zen yourself. So that's makes the Zen NFT completely portable carrier of the economic energy that will eventually yield and issue Zen for yourself. You can, of course, turn around and sell it to someone else if you wanted to. So that's one function. The other function is that there are three different tiers of Zen NFTs. There is the rare class, the limited class, and the collector class. So the rare class, there's only 10,000 of them, and there will be a schedule of how much Zen you actually have to burn, and there is a proof of burn code in the Zen contract that will take your Zen. I mean, not take it by itself. You're gonna have to specify exactly how much Zen you're willing to burn, and that will make that Zen disappear from the total supply. So that's extremely bullish for Zen because it is a utility to convert Zen that you have had or you have either minted for yourself or purchased it on the open market, and you're burning it to generate this new NFT that never existed before. Now it's kind of like walking into a bank uh, with your pants pockets full of change, which would be Zen, and then exchanging it for $100 bill. So that's what NFT would look like. I mean, not look like, but in an abstract manner, it looks like a singular non fungible token that has just converted a bunch of Zen into itself. Now there's limited series, which is 1 to 10,000. That's what we call rare, and there is a schedule of how much Zen you need to burn to generate it. Secondly, the limited versions are 1 million burn and higher, so they're set to the lower limit is 1 million, but there's no upper limit, and those will be issued within the year. So after 12 months, they are no longer issued. So they're limited by time. And then the third class is a collector class. That class is just very utilitarian, very functional, still going to look like an NFT, but does not require you to burn any Zen. You simply use it to make more Zen for you in the future and to make Zen more liquid and tradable, essentially.
Interesting. So does that kind of make the price appreciate technically because the sand is being burned into the NFT?
That's what I see. Yes. So right now there's about 400 billion Zen on the market, but the liquidity of Zen is very very low. There is literally maybe $100,000 worth of liquidity available um, for Zen. Now uh, you have to acquire Zen to make NFTs. If the demand is high to make those NFTs, then people will have to buy this limited supply of Zen, and eventually will push the price higher.
Awesome. So I think you've done a really good job of highlighting some of the key aspects of this protocol. Can you speak a little bit more about the potential roadmap for the future?
The future is bright, or at least that's how I like to see it. I think we're definitely attracting a huge crowd of people. The first month has been just absolutely amazing in terms of how many people have joined and participated in the Zen protocol. We are on 10 different chains. I want to be on 100 different chains. I want to be on every chain. We want builders to come and to build DeFi projects. We want to have people build games, more NFT projects on top of Zen. Because if you can imagine having like think of Dogecoin. So Dogecoin has about 5 million holders. If it had 500 million holders, I'm sure not only Tesla would be accepting them, but also Amazon and Walmart, and you could buy ice cream with it and pay for the movies and just everything, just because there will be so many holders. So that's our goal with Zen. We have lowered the barrier to entry so low, allowing people on pretty much on every chain to acquire Zen, that I feel like there will be in application and use just by the sheer volume of people who are coming in into this network. So that's how I see the future. I just see more people participating. I see crypto builders coming in and building amazing things, and I also see the world choosing Zen as the reserve currency of the world.
So is you spoke a little bit about projects and stuff being built upon Zen. Is Zen being its own layer zero to layer one, whatever application you see it being? I think I might have cut out there. The question I was saying is, do you think Zen is going to be building like its own layer one or whatnot in the future? Everything okay on your end, Jack? I think you're
Sorry,
muted
I
there.
accidentally pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so the question was about the layer one, whether Zen should have its own layer one. It's an interesting proposition. I think there's plenty of blockchains out there to play with. At this point, there's kind of I don't feel the need to explore it just because we're working with the application layer. And by application layer, I'm talking about EVM compatible stuff. There's plenty of things to do besides. And I know like running your own blockchain is like super sexy, but I think if we were to jump into it, it will be our time not so well spent as far as just engaging the world and making Zen, uh, essentially creating more utility for it. So I think we should probably, if that question will ever come up, it's gonna be we'll probably revisit it further in the future.
Awesome. So I think we've covered a lot here. So how does one get involved with Zen? Where does somebody start?
Zen.network. Just go to that website, choose the blockchain of your choice, have your MetaMask ready with a little bit of gas, and you're good to go. Just click mint, specify your time period, and start minting Zen.
Awesome. So, Jack, thank you for coming on to my channel and educating everybody about Zen and discussing it further. Do you have any closing statements before we call some people up to ask questions if you're cool with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Closing statements. I always have to come up with those. I think they're the same as my opening statements. I think crypto can be better. We're here trying to make it better, but not just as our own team, but we're trying to engage the world and make crypto a friendly place. So we see Zen as the friendliest cryptocurrency out there, and I think we will succeed. I mean, so far. Um, the numbers we're looking at definitely telling us that we're doing something right. So I think the future is bright. I'm super excited, and especially with the launch of Zen NFTs, I think the dynamic will change, and Zen will become even more engaging. So super stoked about that.
Awesome. And thank you for that. So, if anybody has a question, just request. So, SharkFi has been here for a minute. Gonna let you come up and speak. Welcome, SharkFi.
Shark.
Alrighty, it looks like the shark is might have gone to land and cannot speak. So we have another speaker here. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but let me let you in. Hey, how's it going? You are muted, sir. Alrighty. Okay, it looks like some of our question answers might have just been kind of body. So, uh, with that, Jack, thank you for coming on, and this will be available for recording on my Twitter page. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I wish everybody a great day, and don't forget to check out Jack's Twitter, follow me, and yeah, everybody have a great night.
Awesome. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a pleasure discussing all of those important topics with you, and I hope to speak with you again soon.
All right, have a great one, Jack. Bye bye.
Bye bye.